girl he got by some other name.
Frisbee. Time for stores to start your morning, sponsored by Gillette Clear Gel. All right, let's stick with the Warriors. They took care of business in Game 4 last night. They beat the Clippers 113-105. Kevin Durant had 33 points to go along with the aforementioned Klay Thompson's 32. Golden State up 3-1 in the series now. Nick, business as usual for the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, this was a game that because Klay was so great and Durant was spectacular as well, it didn't matter that Steph had an ice-cold shooting night, particularly in the first half. They get out. Now they're just one game away from doing what I think most people thought they would do, just take them a game longer, which is dispatch of the Clippers easily. Now, the Clippers had a late push. They had a second-half lead in this game.
Yes.
And the Warriors were able to have a flurry in the fourth. The Clippers never really able to get it within 7 late in the game. Very good win, given what Klay and KD were able to do.
To me, the story will probably be the headline, 2 Warriors scoring 30 points. But to me, it's been about the Warriors' defense. Regardless of what Patrick Beverly, Kevin Durant, the Warriors have woken up and are playing the best defense they've played all season. Problems for the rest of the NBA, just a matter of time before they finish off the Clippers.
I wonder how much of that has to do with the weight loss of Draymond Green, who's playing outstanding on that end, where he's really made his name.
All right, moving on. The Rockets and the Jazz series is going as predicted. Rockets won Game 3, 104-101. They take a 3-0 series lead. James Harden started 0 for 15, but ended up with 22 points. Nick, what'd you make of Harden's night?
I mean, he was really bad until the final half of the final quarter. Like, in the last few minutes of the game, he was good after starting 0 for 15, finished 3 of 5, including a couple gigantic three-pointers. But I mean, it is a missed opportunity for Utah. Not taking advantage when Harden was struggling, and then Donovan Mitchell, Houston had a total defensive breakdown, and Donovan on potential game-winning shot and game-tying shot, and Mitchell just missed it.
Any great player can have a bad shooting night. We see that. Some of our best players, we've seen that with Harden, we've seen that with Russ. But the real superstar, he bounced back in the fourth quarter. When they needed him the most, turned the ball over only one time, played the whole fourth quarter, 12 minutes, had 14 points. So the most impressive thing was after the game, he didn't know he was 0 for 15.
He said it on the court.
He was shocked. He was like, oh, really? But he still kept playing, finished them off strong.
All right, to the East now. The Raptors beat Orlando 107-85 behind 34 points from Kawhi Leonard. Toronto now leads the series 3-1. CeCe, could Kawhi lead the Raptors on a finals run?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We haven't had any eyes on Toronto, but of course, when he signed with Toronto, in the trade for basically one star for another star, we know Kawhi is a better player. We know his three-point shooting is significantly better, and we know that he's a better defender. So, yes, if there is a team under the radar, I would say is Toronto, led by Kawhi.
Toronto started these playoffs the way they've started off so many playoffs in their franchise history, with a bad, inexplicable loss. Since then, they have looked outstanding. They should be significant favorites in the next round over Philly, and then that should set up what would be, I think, an amazing Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Bucks are still the favorites out east, but if the Bucks don't do it, Toronto would be the team. They're as deep as anybody. They're really well coached, and Kawhi is playing as high of a level as anybody in basketball right now.
All right, finally, Game 4 between the Sixers and the Nets, and this one got feisty. Third quarter, Joel Embiid with the hard foul. Jared Dudley doesn't like it. A dust-up ensues. Multiple players end up in the stands. As a result, a lot of drama off the court for these two teams, making its way onto the court. At the end of it all, both Jared Dudley and Jimmy Butler would be ejected and fined for their roles in the fracas. Let's pick this up in the fourth. Sixers down 1. Embiid finds Mike Scott in the corner, not the regional manager, puts the Sixers up 2. Nets would have a shot to tie, but Jared Allen gets the ball stripped away from him. Sixers go on to win 112-108. They take a 3-1 series lead. Joel Embiid had 31 points, 16 boards, 7 assists in the game, and 2 great sound bites after the game.
When Jared Dudley got in your face in the third quarter, what did you make of the whole incident?
I mean, first of all, he's a nobody, so, and when, you know, opponents trying to do stuff like that, that's just to get us out of the game.
Feels good to be up 3-1, so we definitely don't want to be in a situation like the Warriors 2 years ago.
Joel.
I was kidding, man. I tried to.
The post-game press conferences have become as entertaining, at least when Joel Embiid is involved.
Is funny, man.
That was your line. What was
Embiid's just a funny cat. I didn't think he could top the Jared Dudley. He's a nobody, by the way. Got that in. And then he makes a 3-1 Warriors joke.
How impressive was Joel Embiid in this game?
Man, in a game we didn't think he was going to play in.
No one did.
In a game that he was a true game-time decision to come out and put up a playoff line 31-16-7 with 6 blocks that no one's put up since Kareem. I mean, he was great. And it wasn't a must-win game for Philly. They'd be okay going back home 2-2, but it's a win that essentially ends the series. He was the best player on both ends of the court, and he was doing it not at full strength. We know his wind is not totally beneath him. We know, as you pointed out, he's a little heavier than he would like to be, but he was unstoppable. Every time they dumped it down to him, he was getting the shot he wanted. Now, he wasn't finishing it every time, but he was unstoppable on both ends. The story of this game, after Ben Simmons, was the story without Joel Embiid in Game 3. Joel comes back, and he shows how good this team can be because the Nets played well. It's not like the Nets rolled over in this. The Nets really controlled this game. The Nets were the team that it felt throughout the game was in position to win. And then late in the game, you had that broken play where Embiid has the touch pass out to the corner for the biggest shot of the game. Embiid was spectacular at less than 100% in a game that sets them up perfectly to end this thing in 5.
Yeah, and they needed everything. They needed every block. They needed every assist, every rebound that he had. He makes the critical pass at the end of the game where a bad pass gets him up under the bucket and where he could have shot a bad shot.
Yep.
He could have gathered himself and tried to go over 2 people, but he finds Scott in the corner. And to me, Joel Embiid, it's so refreshing to see him. And not just in the game, because a lot of the experts before the game was like, oh, Philly's up 2-1, they shouldn't play him. Then he comes out. Well, Hooper's who? Like, so I understand him wanting to play because if they're able to win this game, because you said it wasn't a must-win situation, but you don't want to go back to Philadelphia tied 2-2.
Sure.
Because Brooklyn would have all the momentum, all the confidence, and with them being so undersized at the 5 position, at the center position, Joel Embiid should have these types of numbers.